Welcome back to our Opera 3 SQLSE upgrade video series. My name is Nick Rose and I'm an ERP consultant with Complete IT in Bristol. And today we want to talk about Opera 3 SQLSE and the new features around security, reporting and the document repository. So let's look at how Opera 3 SQLSE works with reporting and document storage and report outputs. To make a comparison to Opera 3 Visual Fox Pro, Opera 3 Visual Fox Pro will output reports such as BACS files, FPS and RTI files and tax files to a single location, your data directory. So where all your company data files are, all your output reports will default to there. You can choose to put some of them elsewhere, but a lot of them by default will go there. Now that can be as secure as you want it to be. However, the problem you get is when you have groups of people like payroll and purchase ledger both needing access to that directory so they can upload their files like BACS files or RTI files, you end up with a shared location which is not so secure. The way Opera 3 SQLSE deals with that, and I'll show you on the screen, is that the folders that they have been separated into two separate folders. So in our data folder, you can see we have two folders that we care about. One is the common folder and one is the repository. In the repository, under our system and company, because as in standard Opera 3, you can have multiple systems and obviously multiple companies, any standard PDFs and Excel reports will come here. If we go back to the common folder. Now the common folder you can put anywhere, so it can be separate to your Opera 3 SQLSE install directory. You again have a system and a list of companies. And in here it's broken down by the specific, more security conscious modules. So we're talking payroll, and in here you might have BACS files, RTIs, pensions. BACS for purchase ledger, they'll go here. Tax. So from a security standpoint, you can change the permissions of each of these particular levels of folders in the common directory to allow for a higher level of security. Now let's go and see that in practice. If we go into Opera 3 SQLSE and run a debtors report, and if I choose to run it to file, and we will call that debtors report, and you can see that it's marked as securely on server. Because this is a standard report, it will go straight to the repository. You can also say I want to put it in a specified folder. You can do both, you can do each or. I'm not going to open it because I don't need to see it right now. And if we publish that, oh, I've already saved a report called that, so we'll say debtors report 2, and we'll publish that. Because I'm logged in as admin, we still have our document design pop up. It's the way we get our customizable reports. We'll let that output. That will complete. If we go and have a look in the data folder, in the repository, and you can see my system, my company, and we'll have a look in the PDF under the spool folder, and there it is. Debtors report number 2. If we then do exactly the same again, and run it to Excel as a standard Excel report. This is standard functionality. Again, we've got the choice to send it securely to server. Debtors report XLS. We go Excel debtors and publish that. It'll run through the same process that we're all used to. Going to do some initializing. And if we have a look, it's not in our PDF folder, but if we have a look in our XLS, there it is. So there's our debtors report XLS. If we open that up, you'll be able to see that it looks exactly as you'd expect it to. It's a standard report, but you can see it's stored it in the repository. Now, if we have a look in the common folder, and under payroll and RTI, I have an FPS, so let's remove that. I also have a BACS file, let's remove that. And if we go into payroll and HR, we'll run a calculation for the monthly group just to check that there's some data here. Yes, I do want to calculate it for those dates. Get the calculation report, so we'll just view that. So it's good practice. And if we were to run the RTI submission and create the FPS file, we'll see that it will create it in the common directory for us, where we can set those elevated permissions. So create FPS, we'll say next. I've got some values, which is good. Yes, I do want to create it. It's going to ask me if I want to submit it later. I'm going to say no to that. I'll have a look at the FPS file on the screen. There it is, so confirming the values. We're going to create it. Yes, I do. There we go. So it's telling us that it's created it in this network location, which is our common folder. So L720 happens to be this machine, but this could be any location on the server. So you might have a server, a file server, that is not your application server. Opera will be installed on your application server, but you might have a file server. The common file can be on there. That's absolutely fine. Payroll RTI. So let's have a look in that folder. Do I want to submit it? No, I don't. Not for this example. If we have a look in here, under payroll, under RTI, there's our RTI file. So knowing that we've set the permissions on this to be higher for the payroll, only payroll people can see it, nobody else can get into that RTI file. And if we do the same with produce and list backs, I've already run it before, but we'll run it again. I just want to see the backs list on the screen, or I might print this. There it is. And it's created us the backs file. If we have a look in that payroll backs, you can see there it is, the wgbacks.out. So the function of the backs file has not changed, but what has been implemented is the ability to see that in a secure location, so only those people have got it. And that's one of the main features that we have now in the way they've redesigned the back end of Opera 3 SQLSE, so that we can have that higher level of security. Thank you for joining us today and watching and listening about the security in the document repository. Join us next time when we're going to talk about data-intensive processes and the additional benefit that brings to users. Thank you, and see you again next time.